Hey! Happy Monday, all you beautiful radio listeners. Thank you for dropping in on our little happy hour. Very happy to be back in the studio, and we appreciate you listening. Appreciate everybody that came by to say hi on Thursday and Friday out at A. Lene. If you're watching us on YouTube, here's a hand gesture just for you. Woo! Fancy one today. YouTubers, feel free to hit us up on the chat if you're listening on the radio through 105.1 FM, 1080 AM. If you're online at 1051thefan.com, Odyssey.com, the Odyssey app, or if you just ask your smart speaker to get me back to some sweet, sweet sports action, use the fan text line, 503-2GO-FAN. That's 503-864-6326. Use it. Use the chat, use the text line to share your thoughts, ask questions, solicit advice, or answer me this, dear listeners. What's the opposite of a rivalry? Casey, do you have a team that you just can't seem to beat head to head? Is one of your teams just constantly falling victim, or is it something that you don't even notice?
My team definitely falls victim to the Dodgers.
Oh,
very often.
Very often. Well, you don't play the Dodgers very often, though. I mean, you play, what?
Once a year.
One series per year, and in the current setup, is it usually a 2-game series, or is it a 3? I have to think of how the setup goes for interleague
I believe it's
play.
2 game for the first round.
Two game for interleague, and you play home and road, and you switch every other year. Because you get your rivalry series, which is your interleague series where you play one team. For New York, it's the Mets and Yankees.
The Subway Series.
For Seattle, it's San Diego is their interleague rivalry. They're like, I think they just went, neither of you guys really have a rivalry. You're both on the West Coast. That's where the Vetter Cup comes from.
You want to be rivals? That seems what it sounds like.
I'll tell you, well, it was one of those, here's who's left on the West Coast. Because originally, when the A's were still in Oakland, you had the Bay Series, right? So that's Northern California. Then you have Angels, Dodgers are both in L.A. And so then you look up and down the coast, and you go, well, you two are kind of the teams that are left over. And that's what you end up with, which I'm not mad about. The Vetter Cup has turned into the biggest rivalry in sports, as you know. But the reason I ask is I'm having a hard time on the internet finding the longest head-to-head losing streaks. I don't know if you saw this little nugget, but apparently the Timberwolves just beat the Celtics for the first time since 2005. What?
Whoa.
I don't know how many times they play a year. It's East Coast, West Coast, which when you get the Supersonics back, and as I'm calling them, the new Vegas regular Sonics join the league, they're saying that Minnesota and Memphis might be the two teams to move to the Eastern Conference. Then you get more shots at the Celtics. But I have no idea how many times they play. I can't figure out where the biggest head-to-head losing streaks lie, but that seems like a pretty long drought.
That's a long time.
It's what I'm seeing. And it seems like a very, very long time. But the internet is not helping me out. AI is not helping me out. I cannot seem to figure out where the big droughts that would match that are. But if that's
that's the last time that the Timberwolves have won period against the Celtics?
If I have this correct, the T-Wolves beat the Celtics in Boston for the first time since 2005. That's a long, long time. But again, how many times? I don't know how many games that is. Do they play a couple times a year there? But I don't care. If anything goes back to 2005, head-to-head, that's a very long time. So I don't know what the anti-rivalry is. If there's a team that you just don't want to play, or if there's a team that you play that they don't think anything of one of your teams, that seemed like a very long time to me. 20 years without winning on somebody's home court in basketball felt bad.
That's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, but you got the victory, so here you go. Congratulations. That's all you can do. It's all you can do. But let's, off the top of the show, we need to talk about the most important thing that happened in sports over the weekend. It actually happened very early this morning. Seahawks, let's go. Jackson Smith-Njigba has been extended and is now the highest paid wide receiver in football. Huh? Are we excited about that? How do you feel about it? I know you're not a Seahawks fan. I know that you are sitting, back and you're like, well, we did a pretty sweet job fleecing the Seahawks for their great wide receiver, DK Metcalf. Watch what it's going to do to the Steelers. It's going to propel us to greatness. Instead, he leaves a void in Seattle that is just filled by the NFL's leading wide receiver as they march their way to a Super Bowl trophy. Feels like they won that deal, and now they've made JSN the highest paid receiver in the game.
Do you think you overpaid him?
Here's the way I look at it. Week after the Super Bowl, Jackson Smith-Njigba turned 24 years old. They've already picked up his fifth-year option, so they're going to be paying him $30 million, 28-point-something million already in that year. This 4-year extension puts them at 6 years of team control for a player who in his final year, after his final year, will turn 29. So you're getting this guy for his prime. He's in his third year, last year. So you would think if what has happened, continues to happen, which is he's not missed a single game. He's been available for 51 of 51 games.
That's the big one.
He has gotten better each year that he's been in the league. That's kind of a big one. And completely changed the dynamics of the offense last year. So if you look at what you're paying him now, it's a lot. If you look at what they will be paying him in the future, the salary cap went up $22 million this year. It's over $300 million. They're paying a lot of money to wide receivers right now.
Resetting the market a little bit.
But they're not paying as much to their quarterback. So if you look at their passing game, you can say that Rashid Shaheed is getting paid a lot. Obviously, JSN is getting paid a lot. And you look at their quarterback, he's not getting paid nearly as much as a top-tier quarterback, which is in the $50, almost $60 million for just a top 5 guy. So if you have the money now, the earlier you sign him, the less it's going to be in that final year of his contract, where, again, he will be 28 through the entire season. And you have him basically in his prime. JSN has an opportunity to get a second big contract if he continues to get better and continues to play the way he does. The other thing that's interesting is, tell me somebody doesn't do well. You have some guys that can make contested catches. You have some guys that can take the top off the defense. You have some guys that are great route runners. Some guys that can play inside. Some guys that can play outside. You can kind of do it all. Maybe the best hands in football.
He's not. The only thing he doesn't do well is win one-on-one catches, but when you take the top off of a defense like that.
But he kind of does, though. I mean, the thing is, if
you
look at
the separation is the big thing.
Well, that's exactly right. When you can separate, you don't have to make as many contested catches. But you just look back throughout the entire season and where he's able to line up on the field to, before the play even begins, makes it difficult for teams to stop him. Then you go out there and you need a guy to make a big catch in a big moment. What happens when he doesn't get the ball thrown his way? Nothing. He doesn't complain. He doesn't go and, piss and moan to his offensive coordinator or to the media or to whoever else. The earlier you pay a guy, the less you end up paying in the long run. You wait another year, a couple years, and then you deal with franchise tags and all of these other things that you can do. It feels like if you're going to pay him this kind of money, pay it to him early.
And he hasn't had a significant injury yet in his career yet.
Well,
the most significant injury he's had was a hamstring injury
at Ohio
State,
yep.
which sidelined him for 3 games.
Yeah.
So again, 3 games I've missed in 4 years of very competitive, high caliber football.
It is a challenge for me to think of this as not being a win. I mean, the passing game, despite all the turnovers that you got from Sam Darnold, carried them through most of the season. And then you added Rashid Shaheed. And we talked about this when that re-signing happened. That's when the running game really opened up. You added enough weapons. Your offensive line improved throughout the entire year. It opened the way for that running game really to work well at the end. If you don't have a marquee back, if you don't have that home run hitter to start the season next year, having a passing game that makes it easier for the guys that you do have in the backfield to pick up big yardage. Rashid Shaheed is helping the running game. I don't hate it. Next up on the list, Devin Witherspoon. See if you can re-sign him. Another move by the Seahawks. I mean, we can bring this up in the buzz. Talked about this last week. We thought Jake Bobo.
Hold on to it. Hold on to it. We'll come back to this one.
Well, then let's do some In Case You Missed It, shall we?
Yes, let's do it.
All right. In case you missed it, Celtics star Jason Tatum admitted that he's struggling to feel like himself after returning from a torn Achilles. Tatum said, "You just want to be Jason Tatum and feel like yourself again. I'm not Superman, so obviously it's going to take some time." Yeah, Jason, you're not Superman. The Man of Steel is humble enough not to talk about himself in the third person. What is wrong with you? Apparently, Tatum was actually trying to be Superman before Friday's game against the Grizzlies, but luckily, Jaylen Brown stepped in as a leader and convinced Jason to rely on his teammates and to not wear his underwear on the outside of his shorts. So, it's good that he's got teammates that can step up for him. That would have been a mistake. Moving to the NCAA tournament, in case you missed it, Miami's Malik Reneau was spotted waiting in the concession line in his full uniform immediately after his team's tournament elimination from a 79-69 loss to Purdue. It was a busy night for Malik. He played 36 grueling minutes, had 16 points, 5 rebounds, 4 steals, 7 turnovers, 2 slices of pepperoni, a side of cheese fries, and a large Coke. That's a big...
Then we just wanted some chicken tenders.
Well, I looked at the photo. It was in front of a pizza place, so that's why I went there. But you got to throw some cheese fries on if you can get that. But yeah, Tendy's always a good way to go. In case you missed it, after UCLA's loss to UConn 73-57, Coach Mick Cronin bluntly stated after the loss that he needs $5 million in NIL money to get his team past the tournament's opening weekend. I think your honesty will be rewarded. My guess is the UCLA boosters will be able to find even more money after those comments, specifically the $22.5 million they need to buy out your contract, you dummy. Are you sick of that guy yet? Holy cow.
The reporter stuff, I was on his side for it. I'm out now.
Yeah, I'm exhausted with that guy. Every time he talks, he keeps comparing himself to Danny Hurley. Hasn't Danny Hurley won back-to-back championships? Shut up, Cronin. In case you missed it, Iowa pulled off the 73-72 win over Florida on Sunday night after referees allowed Iowa's Alvaro Figueroas to stay in the game despite a scuffle where it looked like he might have thrown a punch. Of course, the player in question, I'm going to try to pronounce his name, but let's be honest, I don't really care. He came back to make the game-winning shot. Getting punched in the face, then having your heart ripped out by the same guy 10 minutes later. You throw in some bath salts and a stolen lawnmower, and you've got a typical Tuesday for a Florida man. It's not a big deal. Not a big deal there. In case you missed it, Iowa State outscored Kentucky 51-33 in the second half, completing a 31-11 run. Iowa State's Nate Heiss openly criticized Kentucky's effort and mental toughness following the massive second-half blowout. He said, and I quote, "When you get them to that point, it's like, let's just be done. I think that's their mindset." Whoa, Nate, that is unfair. If you know anything about the mentality of Kentucky basketball players, you'd have to think that they actually cared about something besides how much money they got paid to play there. You can't really check out of a game if you never check in. You know what I mean? Like, it's just... It's like an AAU all-star team. They don't care about anything out there. In case you missed it, St. John's coach Rick Pitino is eagerly anticipating playing Duke in the Sweet 16 to finally get revenge for the famous 1992 Christian Laettner buzzer beater. Pitino was the Kentucky coach back then, and the loss clearly still lives rent-free in his head over 30 years later. But I guess 34 years isn't really that long for a guy like, Rick. You can literally hold a grudge forever when you're undead. I mean, it's... Hell, Pitino's still mad at Da Vinci for painting his girlfriend back in 1503. So, I mean, this isn't even his longest famous grudge. In case you missed it, Kansas head coach Bill Self angrily kicked a sideline screen after the heartbreaking loss to St. John's at the buzzer. Fans immediately called out the Hall of Fame coach for poor sportsmanship. But in Bill's defense, he was actually trying to kick the puppy next to the screen. So it wasn't... St. John's won 67-65, and Dylan Darling, a Spokane native who transferred from Washington State and Idaho State, became the only player in tournament history to score his first basket of the game as a game-winning buzzer beater, which is a cool story if you ignore the fact that it was against Kansas and they're probably going to blow it in overtime anyways. I mean, it was... Rick Pitino actually revealed that Darling called his own number on the final play. So I guess that's at least one self-call that worked at the end of the game. Am I right? Hey-oh! That one was dumb and great at the same time. Thanks to our studio audience. Hey, at 2:30, we're going to play back sound of the dumbest things that I said last week, and I will try to defend, deny, or blame somebody else for the stupid things that I said in a segment that we call Tape Don't Lie. But right now, we need to get to the Daily Buzz. We've got more Seahawks news. We've got some stories about the potential of the Supersonics returning to Seattle, Blazers, and more. It's the Daily Buzz. We do it next on Happy Hour. This is 105.1 The Fan. Well, just to get you the numbers on JSN, we just talked about him, but they agreed to a 4-year extension worth a record-setting $168.6 million, 120 guaranteed. That's going to average out to $42.15 million in average annual value. Just as a reminder, JSN, 119 receptions, 1,793 yards, and 10 TDs last season. Casey, I know you're a little pessimistic about this, but if you're going to reset the market, I'll give you a couple things. Year 3, he leads the NFL in receiving. He just turned 24 after the season. This is an extension on top of the contract where they've already picked up his 5th-year option. So he will extend out to the year 2030, where he'll be 29 going. 2032, he'll be 29 going into the final season, not 33 or 34. So this, to me, feels like a way to keep one of the best dudes at the position. You mentioned in the break, we were talking about how many head cases play the wide receiver position.
Yep.
At least for right now, JSN does not seem to be that. It's a quiet dude that just goes about his work. When he got drafted into the league, first thing he did was hire a personal trainer, a personal coach, and a personal chef. Mm-hmm. I think this is a dude that takes care of himself pretty well.
Is this paying him for what he's done or paying him for what he's going to do?
He's 24 years old. It's paying for what he's going to do and giving him some credit for what he has done. I mean, again, he played all 51 games that he was eligible to play in. If you look at the other top guys, you're looking at Justin Jefferson, 44 games. Who are the other names that were in there? Puka Nacua, 44 games, and Jamar Chase, 46 games, something like that. So being available is one of those things that has it. Like I said, as good a route runner out there, a guy that maybe doesn't feel like he's as fast as he is, who just glides past people, can take the top off, can do just about everything you need on the field. So I am good with this, because in 5 years, when this contract is getting towards the end, there are going to be people paid a lot more money to catch footballs than he will.
Is he the best top tier talent that Seattle could have?
Oh, there's certainly credit that I give to the Seahawks, and at this point, coming off of a Super Bowl, my confidence in the front office for the team is about as high as it possibly could be, so take it with a grain of salt. I think you trust them when they decide to pay this guy at this position who has been in-house, and they've let a couple guys walk at other positions. They've paid not just one, but 2 wide receivers, so it shows you what they think the value of that position is. And that $17 million that they're going to be paying per year for Rashid Shaheed shows you what they think of the 3rd best wide receiver on the roster, maybe the 2nd best wide receiver. This is what they're willing to pay top talent, and it's kind of the way that the league operates right now. So I'm okay with it.
I think they're getting a win.
Yeah.
As much as I want to say that the price is a little bit too high, if you're going to reset the market, and again, guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's still young. Jamar Chase on the younger side. Justin Jefferson, not out of their prime. There's going to be a lot of money in the receiver category.
Watching 3 games against the Rams, they have got a dude that is the same age and plays a very different style, but is an absolute menace. Puka Nacua creates contact. Puka Nacua looks for contact. Puka Nacua makes all of the contested catches that you would want, where you just feel like that dude is a beast. I don't know how sustainable that style of play is. Where JSN is different is he can catch the ball and make the first guy miss as well as anybody, but the big difference between him and a former Seahawk who I very much enjoyed watching, he doesn't get to the ground like Tyler Lockett used to. He goes out there, avoids contact, his yards after catch, his route running, his contested catch, I don't know if you recall, I believe it was a championship game where he makes that one-handed catch where he just reaches out and sticks on the sideline. Those hands are about as good as they get. So I am very, very happy with this. The Buzz. If you're excited for the Seattle Supersonics to come back to the NBA, one of the things that I've noticed, and I don't think I mentioned this last week when we were kind of getting into this conversation, when was the last time you went to a sporting event of any type and didn't see a Seattle Supersonics jersey, hat, jersey being worn. They're like the flag at game day for Wazoo. They are omnipresent. And I have been to games. I've been to a game at Fenway. I saw somebody wearing Sonics gear. It is present everywhere you go. And I know that I go to a lot of games in Seattle, but baseball, football games in Seattle is one thing. I've seen them all over. So I think people are very excited about this. The step that they've taken in the right direction to get them back. A lot of praise about the Seattle Kraken's ownership group. They have started a new brand, One Roof Sports and Entertainment, and they are getting ready to make a bid to add another resident to Climate Pledge Arena. So I think that's a very positive step in the right direction. Everything that I've heard about the Kraken ownership group is nothing but the highest praise from Seattle fans, from Kraken fans, from Seattle residents. That arena, I don't know if you've been there, but
yep, I've been there a few times.
It's pretty outstanding. So it is ready-made for NBA. They're ready, a WNBA home. They are the home of the Kraken and the Torrent, which is the Professional Women's Hockey League. So I think that building is ready to take on the NBA, and I think that is a step in the right direction.
The Buzz.
Speaking of the NBA, there's a team right here in Portland. They failed to take out the Nuggets, but good news is they didn't lose by 75 points or whatever it was last time the Nuggets came to Moda Center. They lose 128-112 yesterday. The good news? They get to take on the Nets again. So we're feeling pretty good about that. I mean, hey, you've declared the Nets the worst basketball team in the history of basketball. Well, at least in the current season of basketball. So let's go and keep the Nets losing streak going, get a bounce back from playing a good Western Conference team, and I'd be perfectly happy with that.
Remember the Detroit Pistons team that was the statistical worst?
Yeah, they were.
Look where they're now.
It's very true.
Brooklyn doesn't have a chance, though.
No. What did we say? They should just they should put them in relegation, even though relegation isn't a thing. Can we just make them a G League team? I think that would be the appropriate punishment for the Nets being the Nets.
The Buzz.
Finally, it's opening week of baseball season. I don't know if you know that. Thursday is opening day. I am very excited, but there was one lingering issue with the Vetter Cup champion Seattle Mariners that needed to be resolved. Was it the backup catcher position? No, but that has been resolved as well. Mitch Garver will be your backup catcher for a second straight year. Is it what we're going to do about the rotation if Bryce Miller's oblique isn't better? No, that's still unresolved. Is it J.P. Crawford, whether he's going to be starting? No, we're waiting on that. The biggest thing we're waiting on. Randy Arozarena has apologized to Cal Raleigh for his comments following the handshake that wasn't during the WBC. We can finally move on.
All friends
Everybody
again.
Can be happy. They're going to work together to try to win a World Series. And it all starts on Thursday against the Guardians in Seattle. Come on!
The Buzz.
All right, so favorites went 16-0 on Friday in the NCAA tournament. It feels very chalky. Is that a bad thing for basketball? Hard to say. What I can tell you, ratings and viewership up 5%, the best ratings in March Madness since 2011. The average viewership was around 12.5 million viewers for the opening weekend. That is a big, big deal. And that's just for the primetime games, but that is sports, everything we're watching. The NBA ratings are actually up this season as much as we like to make fun of it. Sports viewership is just ticking up and up and up. Maybe it's because all of the TV shows that are out there are just remakes of something that used to be. Whatever the case, maybe it's sports betting. Give credit wherever you want, but the broadcast and the availability of all of these sports is certainly not oversaturating the market. Ratings way up.
Just the accessibility for all the games over the weekend. That was one of the more peaceful things about just the watching experience, is that I didn't have to download 8 different apps, go to the TV log, figure out what channels or who's airing what. Just turned on the YouTube TV, click that multi-box, and got a bunch of great basketball.
Keep it simple, stupid. That's all you got to do. All right.
The Buzz.
Let's go quick through these. We've got Josh Dobbs being cut by the Patriots. He's no longer your backup quarterback in New England. Excuse me. The WNBA has unanimously approved the new 7-year CBA that we talked about last week. That's going to be a lot more money for players, and this means that you will have a season for the Portland Fire and then whatever team name they have for the Toronto team, which is also an expansion team. So congratulations to you guys. The Braves will not have Spencer Strider to open the season. He has a bit of a setback from an elbow injury, and Matthew Fitzpatrick wins the Valspar Championship a week after failing by a single shot in the Players' Championship. He hit a clutch birdie on 18 to win this weekend's tournament. With all of that, let's walk over to the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Tell me what we missed. We're getting pretty close to the Masters, too, man. This is an underrated time of year. The tournament, into the start of baseball, into the Masters.
We're close to that sports equinox.
What's that?
I said we just passed that sports equinox where
Right
we got
at it.
baseball and everything. This sports update is brought to you by Reynolds Defense Firm. If you've been arrested for a DUI, you need a team of attorneys that you can put your trust into. Call Reynolds Defense Firm today, online at reynoldsdefensefirm.com. First on the fan, Adidas has
that's
announced the signing of 14 players to its 2026 NFL rookie class.
Did I make it? Am I on the list?
Sadly, we didn't make the cut.
Damn it.
Fernando Mendoza, Arvell Reese, Carnell Tate, Caleb Downs, Reuben Bain Jr., Jordan Tyson, Makai Lemon, Jacob Rodriguez, Denzel Boston, KC Concepcion, D'Angelo Pons, Jonah Coleman, Elijah Surratt, and the big one, Oregon's own Kenyon Sadiq.
Whoa!
With Adidas.
I do not know how many of those were Adidas school. I did hear both Washington guys in there with Coleman and Denzel Boston. That's obviously an Adidas school because they can't be Nike because they hate Oregon so
I
much.
believe Indiana was an Adidas school.
I thought that they were too.
Is Miami also an Adidas school?
I don't know. I think they might be. What's Ohio State? They're Nike, aren't
They're
they?
Nike.
And so Caleb Downs, what's his deal? Didn't he have isn't his knee going to have to be removed at some point? He might not even play. I don't know. Interesting. You got an Oregon guy, though. That's a big get. Kenyon Sadiq.
Top Oregon.
This is breaking news. I don't know if I'm the first person to mention this. That guy's a bit of an athlete. I don't know if you know that. I don't know if you saw any of his numbers or watched him play football at all or saw him just walking around the sidelines anywhere ever. That dude, that's something.
For more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm Casey Smith from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The Fan is live on YouTube and Twitch. And
have not been pilfered in any of their depth positions. Buamafe is a little bit of depth at the defensive line, but you haven't lost a lot of little names. A couple big names, but not a lot of little names. And I was looking back, a lot of NFL teams lose some guys that are lower on their roster. The Seahawks just signed Cody White back, and I know that might not be a big deal, but these wide receivers for the Seahawks, these depth guys for the Seahawks, play a ton of special teams. And their special teams was special last year. There is no question about it. The one guy out of the big names that you got signed back is Rashid Shaheed, so you can see how much special teams matter to this team.
Well, speaking of special teams, the Seahawks have just signed Jake Bobo after they made the offer against Jacksonville to retain him to the team. Bobo has played 134 special team snaps last season for Seattle.
Yeah, I mean, it's another guy that you look at it and go, hey, we're going to keep our own. And having Bobo back, he's not only a special teams contributor, he's one of those glue guys that everybody seems to like, earned himself a spot on the roster. You throw him out there, and he pops up when you need a big catch. It feels like you're like, oh, yeah, Jake Bobo. And the fans always go crazy for him. They let him go and test free agency, and we're willing to pay the same that Jacksonville was. So it's another win for this team as far as I'm concerned. And it's also a signing that keeps one of their own at home and doesn't affect that 2027 draft. Man, I freaking love it. Let's go.
I loved every bit of it because not only do they wait until they re-sign JSN.
Yeah.
Part of me wants to think that JSN wanted to keep Bobo around.
The wide
guys are important.
Yeah, the wide receiver room might not be filled at the bottom end with names that you know, but it's names that they know and names that they trust. So having guys that go out and play special teams usually translates to guys that block downfield and guys that can do a little bit of everything when they get the opportunity. So all for it. I want it to be him. I mean, I hate to say it's probably Boozer because it's tied to Duke, but what's his name? Yabansa for BYU? Dabonsa. I can't roll with BYU running through this tournament. I think it's probably Boozer at Duke.
That was us talking about the best players in the NCAA March Madness tournament. You were right. You hit it right on the money. You can't believe in BYU and Dabonsa?
Well, Dabonsa was fine. He went out and put up, 35?
35.
And Texas, who it was very, very fun to listen to Suk in his BYU shirt trash-talking with this nice gal that stopped by to say hello and praised the show wearing her Texas shirt at A&A last week and watched them go back and forth. Nobody really seemed to believe in Texas, including the woman that was having the conversation. And here Texas is in the Sweet 16, and they took out BYU and Gonzaga to do so. But, yeah, sometimes letting one guy go wild and trying to stop everybody else is the right strategy in basketball. And turns out that's what worked against BYU. They asked, I'm trying to think of who the coach is for Texas now. I'm losing it. But he went out and said, how do you stop this guy? He said, you don't. It's Sean Miller. It's that former Arizona head coach, Sean Miller. He goes, how do you stop me? He goes, I don't think you do. So it seemed to be the right strategy. Let's go, all right, you see if you can beat us single-handedly, we'll shut down everybody else. Go.
That was when you said Boozer was the best player in the tournament. Have our thoughts changed?
I don't know. I mean, the team looked terrible. There's a couple injuries for Duke. Against Siena, they didn't look good, but who was the guy that threw the team on his back to finish the comeback? It seemed to be Cam Boozer. I didn't pay as much attention to the next game because it wasn't that close. Duke seemed to roll no problem in their second round game. Who'd they play? TCU? That game, I don't think was actually close, was it?
No, yeah, TCU.
Yeah. So there you go. So, yeah, I mean, so far so good. I didn't see Cam Boozer's number, but he's got St. John's next, and I had Duke losing to Kansas. That ain't going to happen. So we'll see if Cam Boozer can continue to roll. I said that I narrowed it down to 5 teams that all had a top 15 offense and defensive rating, and I said those 5 teams could win the whole thing. Houston, Michigan, Arizona, Duke, and there was one more. Houston? Florida. Those were the 5 teams.
Well, now there's 4. Do we still feel confident about the other 4 teams, or where's our head at?
Yeah, I mean it's a difficult thing to go and say that, that every team has a chance to win and then expect them all to be the last 5 standing. Yeah, I think you're pretty confident in that. Again, Duke looked really good in their second round matchup. Michigan has moved into the spot as the favorite after the first weekend of basketball, so they didn't have any trouble along the way. Arizona, no hiccups for them. So yeah, I feel just as confident as they did. I mean, it's based in historical data, right? 22 of the last 23 champions have had good offense and good defense. If you're good on both sides of the basketball, it tends to make you better at basketball. Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that. It's a lot of chalk out there right now, but that only strengthens my assessment, I think.
And and you asked who would be Captain America after the end of it? It's Bryce Harper, not just for the home run. He took the time to praise their starting pitcher, who is still eligible to be Rookie of the Year. Nolan McNeil, who is a New York Met, has a chance to. He's still eligible for Rookie of the Year this year. He was lights out. McLean, sorry.
McNeil's the second baseman.
That's why you're here, just to make sure I don't say dumb stuff. Thank you.
And that's why I am here. Because when you do say dumb stuff, I will catch you on it.
Hey, you know what? There's a lot of names out there, and I'm always surprised that I don't do it more often. The funniest thing is how often something that I in the moment lose track of, and then later that evening, I'm like, oh, it was like whoever. And so it's amazing how often things just absolutely pop into your head a day later, an hour later, whatever.
I'm glad that you got the Sean Miller in the 30 seconds.
Otherwise,
I would have torn you apart all day.
Oh, would you have? Because you knew it off the top of your head. You weren't looking up Google. I still think that the game show that I have conceived needs to happen at some point. So I don't know if are you a Nate Bargatze fan?
I am.
So Nate Bargatze kept telling people that if he got famous enough, he was going to start his own game show. And now he hosts a show on ABC, maybe, that is the The Greatest Average American. And it's just dumb questions that average people should know. And there's a segment where he competes against people or whatever it is. Kind of funny. My game show is called Googler. And it's just people trying to find the answers using whatever devices. Round 1, smartphone. Round 2, you get a tablet or a laptop. Round 3, you get a supercomputer. I don't care what it is. But it's one of those skills that is underrated with it, which is how fast you could find information. It's amazing to me how often people will be sitting at a computer and then look at you and go, how do you spell such and such? And I'm like, you have a spell machine in front of you. What's this plus that? You have a calculator. The amount of times that you sit there and have an argument knowing that the answer sits in your pocket and you're just debating what year, whatever happened, how many points this guy averaged. We all have the answer to every question, but we do not all find it the same way. So that is the game show that I will host, which is Googler, and it'll probably be won by teenage girls who can navigate the internet faster than anybody in the history of the universe. So I am pitching that once again. If you're a studio executive, if you're a television executive, I'm happy to host it. I will help bring Googler to life. If you make it without me, consider this. I don't think this is actually considered a copyright. You know what? Google, what do we have to do to actually copyright this idea? Do we just have to say it on the radio? All right, check that for me, and we'll figure it out. Anything else?
That's all I got.
All right, let's do one more for the road. This one will pertain to some odd ways and odd ideas of what will be good for your NFL career and how to get back into the upper echelon of pro football. Couple weird ones. We'll do that next. It is Happy Hour on 105.1 and the Fan Sports Network.
The Fan.
According to USA Today, ESPN has 2 perfect brackets remaining after starting with 26+ million brackets. And the NCAA website also has 2 perfect brackets remaining. So if you don't have one, you're in the majority. I'm sure you're all shocked to find that out. If you missed anything from the show, use the podcast, 1051thefan.com, Odyssey.com. You can find it on the Odyssey app, or we've just opened our brand new Odyssey drive-thru. You can go through and get podcasts, old episodes, new episodes, future episodes. It's fantastic. Casey, what are the people saying on the fan text line and the YouTube chats that we need to address?
Got one from the YouTube chat that's saying, JSN signed a team-friendly deal. Gotta agree with that. Also says Puka is also a head case.
Puka is very much a head case. And, I mean, as far as a team-friendly deal, sometimes you have a guy that is worth it. I mean, if you reset the market, if you end up being the highest paid at your position, you have to evaluate that the guy is worth it. And I have a hard time figuring out a negative for this deal. There's always risk involved when you sign anybody to a major long-term extension at whatever dollar value it is. And Seattle has managed their roster as well as anybody. And like I said, the biggest question I have will not be about this signing. There are 2 teams in your division. You split your regular season games with them last year. You got them both in the postseason and beat them both in the postseason. And they went out and made big splash free agency signings. You did not. You signed your own, and you let a few of your guys walk. And it'll be dramatic to see how much that makes a difference. My hope, regardless of the outcome of the games, if they're as competitive as they were last year, it'll be a ton of fun for another NFL season. I don't know why it wouldn't be.
And then another text that says some non-rivalries that are rivalries. The Colts have not beat the Jacksonville Jaguars since September 21st of 2014.
Whoo! How about that? That's a division matchup?
They're in the
It is,
AFC
yeah.
South.
So they play twice per year. That's a huge one. See, the internet, I was having a hard time finding it because, again, I'm going to host Googler. I'm not going to be a contestant on the show. So, yeah, that one is that's fascinating to me if it's true. Are you verifying?
I am verifying. As of 2 games, I guess it's true, but got to keep growing. Gotta keep scrolling.
You have to scroll. Listen, there's definitely some tough spots on the internet. So if you're playing along with the home version of Googler, figure it out and tell me if you can find. Because what I would really like to know is what is the longest head-to-head losing streak in sports. There's got to be one out there. And if you go by year or you go by games played or whatever it is, I would be fascinated to know the answer to that. So that's my request. Anything else we need to address before we finish this thing up?
The Washington Generals have the long.
So maybe it's 2 more for the road. Maybe it's 1 in the same, and it's still 1 more for the road. I don't know, but these 2 things surprise me. Apparently, DeAndre Hopkins is wanting to reunite with former Arizona teammate Kyler Murray. He said that Kyler is, quote, my bro. He wants to get back, wants to play with Kyler Murray. He said that they're like family and can't wait to potentially play together in Minnesota. That was a big surprise to me, but hey, add another weapon to that Minnesota team. And I think if you're opposite Justin Jefferson and you're a wide receiver in the twilight of your career, that seems like probably a good place to be if you're DeAndre Hopkins.
How many different quarterbacks has DeAndre Hopkins played with?
How many has Justin Jefferson played with, and he's never left Minnesota?
That's kind of the similar scenario to DeAndre at the start of his career.
What I don't disagree with you, but yeah, that is a wild one. Here's the other one from an NFL wide receiver. Odell Beckham Jr. is apparently using his stint in flag football as audition tape to get back in the league. Hasn't caught a pass since late 2024, out of the league all year last year, but he is thinking that his celebrity flag football tournament is his chance to showcase that he's still got it. If you're an NFL executive, what are the chances that you're watching Tom Brady and the Raising Cane's team to go and find guys that can be playing on your team next year?
Did you watch any of it?
I literally watched the one highlight that Brady to Diggs in the back of the end zone. Oh, we still got it. He can still sling it. And then I could not watch any more because the highlight was emphasized by the Raising Cane's full screen swipe over. It's like, there's your highlight. Eat chicken. And I was like, nope.
Odell looked good. He looked good.
Fantastic.
Had a few one-handers, had a few toe taps.
Yeah, well, if nobody's trying to take out your knees, I feel like it's a lot easier. We know he can catch the football. The question was, can he stay healthy? Wasn't that it?
I believe that was the problem.
Okay. Well, I don't know that. Oh, I can't believe he survived that flag ripping from his waistband. Like, I'm not. Yeah. Come on. He's an NFL wide receiver playing in a celebrity football game. He better look good. If he doesn't look good, go away. That's the way I look at it. All right. Well, hey, big thanks to everybody that listened to this fine program. Of course, we will thank Casey Smith, as we always do. And the show is not complete without a big thank you to Isaac Robb. One more. I do want to thank everybody that we sent. I did this at the beginning of the show. Ran into a lot of people out at A on Thursday and Friday. So thank you again to everybody that came out, swung by, and said hello. It was great to see all the people that we hadn't seen in a very long time. And, of course, a big thanks to A, all the sponsors of the show. That was a ton of fun. Can't wait to be out on the road again. We're all done for now. Bye-bye.
For life is quite absurd.